2026. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Stankiewicz.
Here.
Councilmember Switzer.
Here.
Councilmember Holt.
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Here.
Vice Mayor Granillo.
Here.
Mayor Armstrong. You're,
Is that mute?
you're muted, Mayor. Mayor Armstrong.
You hear me now?
There you are.
I got a heck of an echo.
Yep.
Oh,
Feedback.
and our town attorney is present. Sorry.
Okay, introduction, presentations, and proclamations. Presentation and update by Katie Bell, our Finance Director, regarding the January through March 2026 quarterly financial report. Katie.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Mayor, and Town Council. So I'm going to be going over the quarterly financial report. My apologies for the delay. I was unavoidably out last meeting, so thank you for your patience with that.
Excuse me, Katie, could you please turn off the mic on Katie?
Okay, are we good now? I think I just had to move it. So just want to remind the public that the full report can be viewed online, as all our financial reports can. As an overview, performance at a glance, everything is currently on track to budget for both our revenues and our expenditures for our main funds. And our TPT revenues, this is for 8 months of the year. There is that lag that we've talked about before. So we actually are over what our budget was for this year by right around 900,000. Now, part of that, it varies timing-wise because we do set the budget for the year by month based on what we received last year at this time. So that can change a little bit. However, we are seeing strong increases in our construction revenues for the month of February, and then that actually continued. March numbers aren't on here because it wasn't part of the quarter, but we did see the March numbers come in since this report was prepared, and we are actually up again. So we actually are about 5% over what we received last year at this time. So that's very positive, and we're happy to see that trajectory. But keep in mind, construction is the area where we're leading by the most, and that area is more of a volatile nature. So we want to, we're happy about it, but we want to still be cautious about expecting that amount of revenue in the future. We did see some growth, though, in some other areas like our restaurant and bar and our retail sales that are a little more stable, and we don't see those decline or increases rapidly without continuing that way. So we will be watching and monitoring that, but that is positive news for the town. As far as our general fund activity for revenues as a whole, we are about 567,000 more. We've received more than what we had budgeted. This is less than what we received last year at this time. So that's about 61,000 less. That is primarily due to the state shared income tax, which we knew we were going to have a drop in that this year. That's pre-programmed. So that is offset by the increases in TPT and other areas. And then expenditure-wise, all areas except for information technology and police for the third quarter are under the budget, but that is just the third quarter budget. If you look at the year-to-date column, so the fourth column over, they're actually within their year-to-date budget. It's just the timing of when those expenses happened. So that is also good. And we are slightly under where we were at last year at this time. Expenditure-wise by type, so this is, instead of by department, this just shows it by our personnel, operating, one-time operating, and transfers. again, it's the same result, it's just categorized differently. So the majority of our savings is realized in our personnel budget, and that's from staffing vacancies that we've had throughout the town. And then operating is slightly under. So HERF activity, this is an area where we are not receiving as many revenues as what was expected. We do base our projections on what we receive from the League of Arizona Cities and Towns. But this year, as you all know, we had the Santan Valley Incorporation, which reduced our revenues mid-year. So that's why we're slightly under, but because we're, 3/4 of the way through the year and it's only just under 20,000 under budget altogether, it's not a huge source of concern. We're just continuing to monitor that as well. And expenditure-wise, we actually are under budget as well, which is a positive. So we're above what we spent last year at this time by about 11,000, but we're below budget by 146,000. So that's positive as well. And then we have our water fund. This is an area where we've seen drastic improvement due to the fee structure changes. So we are over what we received last year in revenues by about the same amount that we're over budget this year. So that is positive. Expenditure-wise, we actually have, we're a little under budget as far as the expenses go at 100,000. And some of that is due to timing. Repairs for the system and system maintenance can sometimes vary, as well as contingency in those funds, which we haven't used. And then we're a little over what we spent last year at this time for our expenses. And then our wastewater fund, in this area, we're slightly below on our revenues from what we had budgeted. But again, similar to HERF, it's minimal, but we are continuing to monitor it. It's primarily due to buy-in fees, which are relatively unpredictable throughout the year. We do have some large-scale projects that are starting up, and including the RV park expansion, and we're going to see some buy-in fees there, even though we have the TPT agreement on that. We'll still see buy-in fees come into the wastewater fund that will help that. I just don't know that we will see that this year. It'll be most likely next fiscal year that we'll see that, or in the future. As far as the expenses go, even though we're down on the revenues, we are under budget on the expenses for the maintenance of the wastewater fund. So that is positive as well. As we've talked about before, personnel is over, and that's just an allocation between water and wastewater funds that we align at the end of the year due to the way our payroll system works in conjunction with our accounting software. So fund health cash balance by fund, we actually, through the third quarter, we're actually seeing some growth in general fund balance. So we're receiving more revenues than what we have spent. For HERF, it's been fairly level, if not dipped a little. And then some of our other funds are improving, like our wastewater fund and our water fund are looking slightly better than they looked previously. As a whole, so our net change in fund balance right now, we have added just under 1.4 million to our fund balance this year to date. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions or take any comments you all have.
Robert?
No, sir.
Jerry?
No.
No?
No.
Just one real quick one. You said that I think you said income tax was down a little bit. Is that part of that with the Santan Valley too? Does that impact that?
Yeah, so our state shared income tax is our urban revenue sharing is what it's called, and it is because of that distribution. Actually, you know what? No, excuse me. That one is not because of the distribution of that. That one is because they changed the flat tax rate. It went to a flat tax a few years ago. That one is pre-programmed. So we'll probably see a little dip because of Santan in future years, but this is based on past years. So
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Great
Mayor,
report.
any questions? Is he on mute? Mayor?
I don't have any questions.
He doesn't have any questions. Thanks, Katie. Call to the public.
Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council. Public comment is at the discretion of the council and not required by law. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. Yielding of time will not be permitted. The total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment on items not on the agenda will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. Public comment is invited and encouraged. However, personal attacks on individuals is not appropriate. Disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. This includes loud outbursts, profanity, and disruptive discussions among our audience. I did not have any cards filed.
Anybody from the audience? Nope. We'll move on. Current events, summaries, and reports. Status reports by mayor, council regarding current events. John? Or Robert? I'm sorry, Robert.
No, sir.
Sherry?
No.
John? John?
Just to mention, on May 15th, I attended the Chino Valley Memorial Foundation, did a ceremony for Peace Officer Memorial Day on that board as well. A little shout out to our young Marines, police cadets, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people, but that ceremony was awesome. And a lot of that organization had to do with the head of the Chino Valley Memorial Foundation, Larry Holt, here to my left. So, good job.
Everything that goes on at the foundation's a community and team effort, so. I want to say something real quick. I want to thank Public Works for putting up with all the abuse they're putting up with right now over the roads. They're doing a bang-up job. They've got people out on those roads every single day working. So I thank you for that.
Thanks, sir. Mayor, you have anything?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, town manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Holt. Appreciate your comments. One of the things I was going to remind people that we do have a quite extensive roads chip sealing project going on in town. Unfortunately, those roads that were bad go down to dirt to start with. There will be some dust and some other issues, but know that that is temporary. And in the end, you will be getting a new road. We ask people to be patient and also to drive carefully and slowly on those roads. That will both help with dust control and even in the first stages of putting down the chip seal and the gravel base. That helps, we don't want to try and make that surface uneven, and driving fast, stopping and starting can impede that process. And even if you're driving it in the in-between stages, can start to break things off at the end. So we thank the patience for everyone, but in the end, we're going to see a lot of improvement in our town. This is probably the most expansive number of miles that we have done in the past, and when it's done, it's going to be impactful to all. So we thank you for your patience. And we thank, again, to the Public Works team. As he said, our inspectors are out there, our acting director is out there, our project manager every day monitoring those and talking with the contractor. So I appreciate that work. Last Friday, they were out there making sure it was being done, even though, we're supposedly closed for business on Friday. So I thank them for that. The other big news is the Aquatic Center. The season is just around the corner. So we celebrate the Chino Valley Aquatic Center's grand opening with free entry on Saturday, May 30th at 12:30 p.m. So please come out and join us on that day and celebrate the season. They are having a soft opening on Friday. So if you want to come out a day early, you are welcome to join us on Friday. Remember also with that, the swim lesson registration is open for 2 more days until the 28th. So please sign up for those. Those are, I think they had 70 signups the very first day. So it's an important, if you have children, young or old, who haven't had swim lessons, please take advantage of that opportunity. In addition to that, there's lots of other things going on out there. It's a pirate theme. So if you feel like swashbuckling that day, come on out in your pirate gear, ahoy matey. One of the things we do want to recognize, and they are making more public this year, is that there are approved swimwear guidelines. Do remember that this is a family, young kids are there, so dress appropriately for the season. You're not on an episode of Baywatch. And also remember, there's swim lessons, there's party room packages, there's season passes. So take advantage of the aquatic season that's upon us. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Town Manager. Let's see, consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda?
I just wanted some clarification on C. And I thought I sent you the email to Ari, and I apologize, I didn't.
That's okay. Yeah, so our, and I'll have Katie, if there's more on the financial side, but I'll give a general. So our Salito del Sol Maintenance Improvement District, it was a little different. Most subdivisions, you know, they have an HOA that takes care of their community maintenance of landscaping. This was done differently, and there was an agreement that the town would take care of it through a maintenance improvements district, which is assessed to all of the property owners. When we took that over, we were given a amount by it was taken care of originally by the developer, and the amount that they had said it was per year, $3,000. We bid that out once the town took it over because we wanted to keep the finances separate and very clean that we're billing back to those property owners. And when we bid that out for contracting, the amount was much different than we were informed by the developer they had been spending per year. So we have decided that we are going to phase that in. We thought doing I think it was a 300 or 400% jump from what we were doing with the 3,000 to the 9,000. And potentially even 14,000 is what we're looking maybe the long term to bring it up to our standards. We don't want it to be below anything that we would cite someone else for code. We need to keep ourselves to our own standards. So we are phasing that in and asking council to subsidize it this year so that we can bring it up to where it's fully funded by the property owners in the next 2 years. Is there anything you want to add to that, Katie?
I'd like to add for this action item, we're actually requesting the tentative budget be adopted at the full amount, and then we'll have further discussion at the public hearing, because then the following meeting in July is actually when we'll set that tax levy, so we can reduce it, we just can't increase it. So we're doing the amount that we would actually need to maintain the district, but we expect that to be offset slightly and phased in a different way. And we'll have a lengthier discussion with council on that.
I'm just kind of curious with a little more specificity, what were because I thought we were just mitigating weed control was the primary focus, because I remember voting for this when we first adopted this from the very beginning. So what changed?
Would you be agreeable for me to pull up the presentation for a future meeting? Is that okay?
Should we move this from consent?
I mean, that's a big jump.
Should we move this from consent?
It isn't just weed control, it's maintaining landscaping that's there.
If we're going to be given the opportunity to talk about this, the second meeting,
Yes.
I'm fine.
Yes,
We'll just
let's do
move
that
forward
there.
with that. But do you see what I'm 400% jump? I'm like, what changed? Weed
Yes, this
control
is a
can't
valid
stop that.
conversation we want to have with you and decide whether you want to take on that subsidy or not. But as Katie said, it's important today, we want to do it at the highest level because when we do the tentative budget, we can go down, we just can't go up.
And I'm fine. We don't need to we don't need to get granular today.
And can we also add on a future agenda what development services needs to do to prevent this from ever happening again? As far as our code goes with developments?
Definitely not something we can talk about tonight in terms of this
Correct.
agenda, but
Future. Nice.
just say no. That's the easy answer.
And that was a council decision.
The council formed the district, so the council can deny formation of a district like this again.
Well, okay, but on C, we're not codifying the expense, we're codifying the decision to have further into the budget later.
You're just approving the tentative budget, which
Right,
sets
that's
the
what I'm saying,
top.
right.
You're
Agreed.
not making a decision on any line items in the budget. You're saying the maximum amount. The next meeting, you'll set the final budget where you can lower it to whatever amount you want. The meeting after that, you'll set the tax levy to actually collect.
And that's fine, and between now and then, you could give us the additional information to justify that, because that's gonna be a big jump for those homeowners right there.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
Just to clarify, can we get a motion on C first, since we had discussion on that, and then we can motion the rest of them?
Okay, so I'd like to entertain a motion for items 5, consent and agenda item 5C.
Mr. Mayor and Vice Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve May 26 agenda item, consent agenda item C.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Don't forget Tom.
Mayor?
Is.
Was that a yes?
We couldn't hear you, Mayor. You're on mute.
What was the question?
Approving consent agenda item 5C.
Aye.
He approved multiple times.
That was a super yeah.
And then, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, make a motion to approve consent agenda, May 2026 consent agenda items 5A, B, D, E, F, and G.
Okay, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all passes. Action items. Action item 6A, public hearing consideration and possible action on ordinance number 2026-968, ZC-2026-03 for a rezone of 3 parcels of land from agricultural residential to commercial light.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Granillo, members of the council, and Mr. Mayor Armstrong virtually. Jessica Berrigan, your senior planner. Before you this evening is a request to rezone a total of approximately 1 acre of land located at 3 North and SR 89. You can see on the left side of your screen, it's part of a larger 10-acre development. The rezone to CL or commercial light is necessary so that all the parcels have the consistent zoning, which is needed in order to complete the lot combination process. As you can see, the request would be consistent with the existing surrounding CL properties and is further consistent with the neighborhood commercial land use designation described in the town's general plan, as you can see on the right side of your screen. Earlier this month, Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval. Staff also recommends approval, subject to the findings and conditions in your packet. Unless there's any specific questions, the applicant does not desire to approach the dais, has nothing further to add, but I'm available for any questions if needed. Thank you.
Questions for staff, Robert?
No, thank you.
Sure.
No.
John?
No.
John? No. Larry?
No, sir.
Mayor?
Thank you.
No.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Robert?
No, sir.
Sherry?
No.
John?
No.
No. John? Larry? Mayor?
Say no, Tom.
No.
Okay, I'd like to open a public hearing. Seeing none, I'd like to close the public hearing. And I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026-967 to rezone 4.97 acres from agricultural residential to single-family residential for a lot split.
Roll call vote, please.
Second, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
second.
Second.
Larry?
Aye.
Councilmember Stinkowitz.
Aye.
I said second already.
Councilmember Switzer.
Yes.
Councilmember Holt.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Granillo.
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
That was just one yes this time.
Yes.
Didn't that go?
Good. Okay, action item 6B, public hearing consideration and possible action on ordinance number 2026-967, ZC 2026-01 to rezone.
We just did that one.
Oh,
C.
shoot, hold on. I'm sorry.
B,
looking at that.
you were right.
Yeah, 5, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're on B.
Action item 6. Hold on. Paperwork's all messed up. Yeah, 6B.
Oh, you know what?
I was right. Do you?
I made the motion on the wrong item. We have to redo that.
I thought I didn't hear the word fuel, so I was like, okay.
Well, it doesn't,
Okay.
it's not in there.
Can you scratch that and,
me to pull it back up?
No, I've got it. But do I need to rescind that last motion? Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah.
You need to vote on the prior motion. You just took them out of order, I guess.
Correct.
This one has a public hearing as well.
Yes.
Okay, so you held the public hearing already before the motion you're about to take, so that one's fine. Yeah, you should still be fine. You just do the public hearing on the current one after you redo the motion.
So just do B.
Just redo the motion on A. Okay. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2026968 for a rezone of 3 parcels of land from agriculture residential to commercial light.
Okay, second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stinkowitz,
Still yes.
Councilmember Switzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Holt,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Oh, sorry, yes. You said Philip.
Councilmember McCafferty,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Granillo,
Yes.
and Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
Still passes 7-0.
Okay. Try this again. Action item 6B, public hearing consideration and possible action on ordinance number 2026-967, ZC-2026-01 to rezone 4.97 acres from agricultural residential to single-family residential for a lot split.
Alrighty. Good evening, Mayor Remote, Vice Mayor, and members of council. Will Dingy, your Assistant Director for Development Services. As read, the item before you is a rezone to cut off the back 3.28 acres of land. We'll get right on into it. The subject property itself is located approximately halfway between Juniper Drive and East Road 1 North, east of North Road 1 East. To the north of the property, you have the developed Colonial Villas subdivision. To the east, you have Highlands Ranch. To the south, you have the newly broke ground Highland Townhomes. And then to the west, you have Roadrunner Mobile Home Park and Walker Estates. Zoning for the property is AR5. Directly to the north and east, and a little bit to the south here, you have SR1 zoning. All these parcels were developed through lot splits. To the east, you have additional SR1 zoning through the Walker's Estate subdivision. And in the southeast, you do have a little bit of AR5 left over. General plan designates this area as neighborhood residential, which is a 1 to 4 dwelling units per acre. While the general plan does not call out SR1 as part of the listed districts there, it does fit that density of that 1 to 4 at 1 dwelling units per acre. It is also important to call out that this property is inundated with some local sheet flow, which would make developing this parcel at a higher density challenging. It would require a lot more engineering than it would be to do a 1 acre minimum. So staff is recommending approval based on those conditions in compliance with the general plan. On May 5th, 2026, the Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval to Town Council with a 7-0 vote. So the motion before you this evening, or the recommendation before you this evening, is to 1, hold a public hearing, and then 2, approve ordinance number 2026-967. There are 6 stipulations associated with the ordinance that the applicant has agreed to. He is in attendance this evening. He does not have anything further to add, but is available for questions. Go ahead and open up for questions.
Question for staff. Robert?
I guess just that sheet flow through there, if they're going to build on that, they're just going to have to re-engineer the land to.
That is correct. They'll grade it. It's local. So it's
Wouldn't
not a
that
FEMA.
change the flow though? If
So
they're going
it's a local sheet flow study, so it would need engineering based on it, but it's not a FEMA designated.
to? Okay.
Sure.
No.
John?
No, I saw the planning and zoning meeting. It was good.
John?
No.
Larry?
Water and sewer?
Water is there, but it's not going to be required if they do a lot split. So, well, excuse me, let me back up. Water would be required because it is 2 property line for the development, but it's going to be a lot split, so it wouldn't be a subdivision specific. So it wouldn't be mandated to do the connection of water and sewer.
Okay.
It would be?
It would not.
It would not, so they-
I thought
Septic.
anything went over 4, it would became a subdivision.
So he's going to leave it at 2 on the back half there. So 3 lots total from the parent parcel with current configuration.
That's
But they
concerns
will hook
about,
to water.
Correct.
I have concerns with the sheet flow going across the septic line. I've seen problems with that in the past.
So it need to be approved through county environmental. They'll have to do a flood status request when they submit for their septic approval. So all that will be handled at the county level to make sure it works.
is the county involved in the sheet flow build out too, or does it just go through town?
It would, as far
As
as
far as
reviewing,
building permits?
it'll just be through us since it's a local
Town?
sheet flow through us.
Okay.
Correct.
Mayor?
Question? No question.
No? Okay, questions for the applicant? Thanks, Will. None? Okay, I'd like to open a public hearing. None? I'll close the public hearing, and I'd like to get a motion.
Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Mayor, a motion to approve ordinance 2026967, ZC 20601, to rezone 4.97 acres from agricultural residential to single-family residential for a lot split.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stankiewicz?
Yes.
Councilmember Switzer?
Yes.
Councilmember Holt?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Granillo?
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you.
He gets 3 votes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's,
Next,
he's got his privileges.
action item 6C, consideration and possible action to approve the First Amendment to the professional service agreement between the Town of Chino Valley and Mark Holmes LLC, allowing up to $75,000 for professional services in fiscal year 2026. Town manager.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council again. We have a current professional services agreement with our water consultant, Mark Holmes, and that allows up to $70,000 a year. This year, as you know, our Public Works Director departed early in the year, and we asked Mark to step up and take his place in several. He went to NAMO meetings, he went to SIMPO, now Y-Plan meetings, and then additionally, we were heavily involved in managing the IWMP and the WIFA loan projects at the wastewater treatment plant and at Bright Star. We're pushing that. We may not go over 70, but I wanted to come to you and make sure I have capacity that as long as the town needs Mark's services through the end of June, that we can continue to do so without being in violation of our contract. So I'm asking you to approve an amendment that allow us to give us another $5,000 if we need it through the end of the fiscal year. Thank you.
Okay. Questions for staff? Robert?
Nope, money well spent.
Jerry?
No.
John?
Is he worth it?
Yes, he is, and I will say, we want to thank him for
Sorry,
stepping up, and he never hesitated. We needed him to go somewhere the last 4 months, so I do appreciate that.
He knows a little bit about water.
Yeah, it's just like-
John?
No.
Larry? No. Mayor?
No.
No, okay. I'd like to get a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the First Amendment to the professional services agreement between the Town of Chino Valley and Mark Holmes LLC, allowing up to $75,000 for professional services in fiscal year 2026.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilmember Stankiewicz?
Yes.
Councilmember Switzer?
Yes.
Councilmember Holt?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Granillo?
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, the next is action item 6D, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2026-1317, authorizing the application for a drinking water state revolving fund loan from WIFA for the Bright Star Water Production Facility PFAS remediation.
Good evening again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. As you know, we talked through this subject quite extensively in the study session, and based on that input, we are bringing a recommended item to you for action. But in order to quickly go back through the details and memorialize that for this study session, or for this action item, and those who weren't here at the study session, Mark is going to go back over the project, and then Katie will come up and talk to you about the financials. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark Holmes.
Mr. Mayor, virtually, and Vice Mayor, members of the council, pleasure to be before you this evening. I'll just recap our study session and the timeline we talked about at the study session. So again, in August of 2023, the Department of Environmental Quality notified the town that the Bright Star Water Production Facility had a PFOA, which is one of several PFAS constituents that exceeded an EPA maximum contaminant level proposed at that time of 4 parts per trillion. In October of 2023, the town sought for PFAS professional engineering firm to do its own assessment and look not only at the Bright Star, but all of its water production or wells in the community. And in December of 2023, we established a professional services agreement with the Carollo Engineering team. At the time, still is the premier PFAS engineering team. And in February 2024, they completed their assessment. The Carollo team provided 4 alternatives for the town to consider. The alternatives are on the table in the bottom right. As you recall, we talked about alternative 1, which was a PFAS treatment at the Bright Star facility. That total was estimated at that time, and we talked about the engineering classification for estimating, was $5.1 million. Alternative 2A and 2B looked at connecting a well to our water system or connecting a well to the Bright Star system at various costs of just under $3 million and $4.4 million. And then alternative 2C was actually creating a brand new water production facility and reservoir at a cost of $10.2 million. Alternative 1 was chosen as the ultimate remedy, the cure, and alternative 2A and 2B were a temporary solution, not a permanent solution. And then in February 2024, ADQ stepped forward, used our own assessment of $5.1 million and said they were going to pay for the PFAS remediation for the town at the Bright Star Water Production Facility. And then soon thereafter, in April 2024, Chino Valley and ADQ entered into a participation partnership, the letter on the right. Agreement which looked at designing further project work and future collaboration. And then in April, so the same month in 2024, EPA finally established its permanent maximum contaminant levels, of which they established PFOA, an MCL maximum contaminant level of 4 parts per trillion. And any and all water providers that have a PFOA exceedance of that must be in compliance by 2029. That is our goal. Currently, Carollo Engineering and ADQ, the project team managing this project, we are a liaison with them. They are at a preliminary design timeframe, and they have a little over $8 million estimate. And that accuracy range based on those engineering cost estimate is -20% to up to plus 30%. So keep that in mind. This project could go down, but probably it's going to go up more. But the Arizona Department of Administration is currently securing a CMAR, construction manager at risk, which we brought on board early to work then with the engineering team. As we talked about, that's when you want to have the engineer and the contractor for construction working together to try and minimize those expenses, look for cost savings and efficiencies. So that CMAR is out on the street for solicitation as we speak tonight. What will be coming before you in the near future? We talked about at the study session, we'll be looking at an IGA with WIFA in the town, potentially ADQ. There will be 2 pots of money, the WIFA ADQ money, and if approved and move forward, it could be the town's WIFA money as well. So we'll have to have an IGA moving forward with WIFA to look at how invoices and expenses would be paid for. The site currently at the Bright Star Water Production Facility is not large enough for the remediation system itself. We're looking at acquiring a 1-acre site just south and adjacent to the current Bright Star Water Production Facility and an additional easement that will be able to access that site for heavy equipment to come in there. And then also Carollo team will be looking at all the operation and maintenance costs once that PFAS system would be coming online, remediation system, what that would then be needed to be incorporated into our operation and maintenance budget. That will be coming before you in the future. And now I'll turn over to Katie Pell, your finance director, to talk about the finances.
Thank you, Mark.
Good evening again. So this is an outline of the WIFA loan application process. So to date, we've submitted the project priority listing for the initial eligibility. So we've been in contact with WIFA. Tonight's item is the debt authorization, which is part of that council resolution. Then going forward, it'll actually be another application that we submit to WIFA that's lengthier. It's the project finance application. Then it goes before their boards for approval. And then it comes back to you all for final loan document approval and resolution with that. And at that point is when we can actually close the loan. So it does come back before you an additional time. Part of that is because we've talked with WIFA at length, and we are expecting a 90% forgivable and 10% loan with this item. However, that is contingent on the monies available at WIFA, the committee and board approval, as well as competition with other entities. But we are first in line, and we do plan to get the application out tomorrow if possible to them if council approves tonight. So we are at the head of that pack. And then just to recap, the ADEQ portion of this project is the 5.1 million. The town's WIF alone is the 5 million. We have to do the full 5 million with the debt authorization, even though there's likely to be a high principal forgiveness associated with this. That would put, if we do get the 90%, it would put our town investment at around 500,000, which is huge for a project that could be 8 to 10 million. And we did, as Mark mentioned, we did increase the amount to 10 million at the request of or recommendation of Carollo and ADEQ to make sure we have capacity in case costs go up again. If it was off by the 30%, you're looking at around 10,500,000. So it could go up slightly above that, but we think it'll stay within the 10 million at this point. And as a recap on the water fund status, this was reviewed at the study session as well. Since 2023-24, we've actually improved significantly in our water fund revenues compared to expenses. So we actually have the capacity to take on this debt service, which will be relatively minimal for the 500,000 that would be the town's responsibility. Should the forgivable principal come in at a lesser amount, it'll be a discussion we have with council before the final loan approval. And with that, staff does recommend that council approves the resolution tonight because the total investment that we would have on this is much smaller than the benefit we'll be receiving with the ADEQ contribution as well as the forgivable principal. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Okay, do we have any questions for staff?
I do. Might as well start with you, Katie. So the WIF approval, which is after your lengthy application, so step number 5, I guess.
Yes.
Is there a percentage to that approval? Can you put a percentage on the likelihood of that getting approved past step 5?
The representatives from WIFA feel very confident that we will be in the 90% forgivable range because it is PFAS related, which is a high priority right now. Thank you. So we do feel fairly confident, but it is always subject to change.
And we would find that out obviously before the loan docs.
Correct. We would know after it goes through the board approval. It just wouldn't come back to council until the final loan document approval.
Are we looking at any kind of contingency plan that if worst case scenario something happens?
We do have some capacity in the water fund side. Again, as they said, they feel fairly confident, but unfortunately, we've seen the board do some odd things.
Just wondering if staff is looking at the worst case scenario.
Yes. So we are, right now, the estimate, as Mark explained, was the 8 million. So that does give us the cushion of about 2 million there. And then, like I said, if it's a 30% estimate, so if it goes up another 30%, it's only about 500,000 that would be the gap there. And that could be covered with water fund balance. Additionally, it could be something that we look at subsidizing from the general fund if that's something, when we get to that point. Because the benefit that we're receiving from this project, if we are able to at least get that forgivable principal and the ADEQ portion, is still substantial.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
And then Mark, a question for you. The facility, the remediation facility, is there a projected life span of that facility?
That's a great question, Councilmember. Life of that would be forever until that facility, that water production facility, was mothballed or abandoned. So what that means is that vessels that house media that actually remove the PFAS, they have a life expectancy. So part of the operation and maintenance costs we'll look at annually just operate and maintain the vessels, but when their lifespan hits the expiration date, we'll have to buy new vessels.
Correct, but the meat and potatoes of the facility is a lifetime, basically.
we're looking probably,
Infrastructure.
yeah, we're looking probably at what I would see a multi, 20, 30, 40-year life. When you go in the utility business, you're in it for a very long time, unless you decide to do something else. But these are forever facilities, kind of like wastewater plants. We'll always be in the wastewater business and water production for drinking water. Similarly, whether this is our main water production facility, and it produces a lot of water, the majority of the water that's consumed in our service area. So I would foresee this having life easily into multi-decades.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
No.
John?
Just for Katie, this loan was included in this year's budget?
Correct. It was one of the
Okay.
things we added in at the last moment before our last meeting on that, just to make sure we had
I couldn't
capacity.
remember, but, okay, we're good.
John?
Yeah, for Mark, sorry, making it up again. Just curious, there's a little bit of an expansion going on with that development. Is that going to have a positive, negative impact or any impact at all on this?
Expansion regarding the Bright Star development?
Yes.
Itself, new homes and so forth. Well, everything's looked at as a service area. So not only Bright Star, but we have other developments that are hooking up to the water system. So we look at things holistically in the utility business. And so this water production has a certain life of how much water it produces, how much water it's capable of treating. And when we hit at certain trigger point where development and the water demands hit that place where we have to start looking at a new or expansion of a new water production facility, that will be discussed with the Integrated Water Master Plan.
And that's my second question is there anything we can do, obviously you can't predict the future, to prevent something like this from happening again with the next development?
That's a very great question, Councilmember. So immediately when this happened, we were in the process of completing a physical availability determination. It uses a groundwater model that looked at our entire water service area and quantified how many water molecules exist. We came up with a number and we made that available. We work with developments that are within a certain distance of our water service area. Using that model, we came back to council and said, hey, while this model is fresh, it has to be approved by the Department of Water Resources. Why don't we do a well capture zone? So to your question, we looked at all of our main water production wells at Old Home Manor, especially in that vicinity, and looked at where that water is coming from when it's pumping at their projected volumes, to try then to work with development services, future water safety ordinances and so forth. But we now know where those lands are to try and protect and ensure that we're not going to have, whether it's high density septics or other types of potential contamination, without looking at additional safety measures. So it's a great question. We are addressing that and trying to work forward with some of those safety precautions.
Thank you.
Do you want to add anything?
Well, I just think, to clarify, I think the other point that I heard from him, that I don't want him to misconstrue, so the PFAS contamination that we're seeing in the well isn't necessarily from the Bright Star facility.
So we have not identified what the source of PFAS is. Now, I speculated that most likely the only thing nearby that we see is historic 1970s high-density septic tanks that have since been sewered, but in the multiple decades where the volume actually created in the early 2000s, this is a Chino Meadows, created nitrates actually getting to the water table. Well, there was PFAS in that water as well, and it probably created a smear zone where those discharges were coming from private septics, and it stayed there. And we're seeing that residual material in that smear zone and the water table coming into the well. So PFAS is quite mobile, and it's been drawn over into that Bright Star. And the Bright Star well is fairly close to the west side of the Bright Star development and near Chino Meadows. So I'm speculating, but I would say that's probably, where that origin of that comes from. And why, again, high-density septics may create problems in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
You can stay there, Mark. I'm going to get into some hypotheticals here, but okay. Okay, Bright Star's growing. The town's trying to get more and more people on town water, so we're drawing more and more from that well. If we had to go into a second well, will this facility be able to handle processing it as well?
First of all, I would not recommend as your water advisor to drill another well in this vicinity because it would have PFAS.
Yeah, I'm talking, let's say we had to pull one of the old Home Manor wells.
Correct.
Could we hook it up to this and still process through that one, or we could be looking at cha-ching again?
So we would most likely, we're looking at when it's time, bringing on a new well, and you'd phase things in. We always look at phasing and growing into your system. You don't oversize something and then run a new problem. So we have wells identified that will be identified in the Integrated Water Master Plan, looking at what wells, and we specifically looked at wells that have a no detect of PFAS. And then what their legal withdrawal authority is, and then these are looking also at what water supplies are available for assured water supply. So some wells have to meet a lot of criteria, water quality, water production, legal rights, all that. So we have identified some wells that really match that, but we still have to be careful. But to your point, we'll have to have a new water production facility come online. That means a well, some volume that's treated and stored and then put into our water system to meet future demands. It will be, I think, a lot of your questions, as the water utility does expand, we'll have probably some really good work study sessions with the Integrated Water Master Plan when that'll be a few months down the road, but we'll have really, I guarantee you, really good discussions on that particular
You
topic.
understand where I'm coming from. I don't want to see 10 million to open another well down the road, so.
No, we are, obviously, whether it's, water quality concerns, and we have several now, we've encountered in Chino Valley. Legal water rights, we have other water service areas. We have 8 other water companies, small to large. And I was mentioning to our county board supervisor that imagine, a private utility that's not a municipal, not getting any support from the state like we are as a disadvantaged community. Like Chino Meadows has the same PFAS concentrations that the town has, but no financial support. There are citizens. So we're trying to think about how the Integrated Water Master Plan looks at not only new water production, but what if they want to seek support? How can we work together on partnerships and collaboration? I don't know what that looks like right now, but we're trying to look out for every citizen in Chino Valley and make sure that we have safe drinking water. And sometimes we're really threading the needle on wells that are safe, there's no detect, good water quality, there's legal constraints are met, and so forth. But great questions.
Fear. What if Chino Meadows folds tomorrow?
There is, that's a great question. We've actually encountered that in Chino Valley before.
I know, that's why I asked.
There are mechanisms at the Arizona Corporation Commission. They have a utilities department that really, they have emergency systems that help keep those systems running. They have operators that get brought over, keep the systems running. They also then work with the nearest municipality or entity that wants to work with that. So we understand where to go with that. So should something like that happen, we would be ready to go with the ACC and partner.
Okay. Mayor, any questions?
No.
None?
No?
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Okay. We're good. Like to get a motion?
Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-1317, authorizing the application for a drinking water state revolving fund loan from WIFA for the Bright Star Water Production Facility PFAS remediation.
You got a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stankiewicz?
Yes.
Councilmember Switzer?
Yes.
Councilmember Holt?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ganillo?
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong?
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Okay, next action item 6E, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2026-1309, approving a tentative budget for the fiscal year 2026 through 2027 and proposed expenditure limitation for the same year in the amount of $48,345,342 and setting a public hearing date of June 23rd, 2026 on the tentative budget and adoption of the final budget. Katie.
Good evening again. So as you all know, we've talked about the budget for fiscal year 26-27 at length at this point. This is a recap of what was presented last meeting to you all. The expenditure summary compared to that of the preliminary budget, which we initially talked with you all about. So we had some changes of just under 6.6 million. Primarily, that was the addition of the Bright Star PFAS remediation project, as well as certain rollovers that were discussed at the last meeting as well. So that brings the total budget to the $48,345,342. And this is slightly more than last year. Well, slightly, it's 1.6 million more than last year, but that is attributed to that Bright Star debt service and project. With that, this is the fund balances with everything included. So the columns to focus on are the fund on the left side, then the first two columns there, the ongoing revenues and ongoing expenditures. Those are what we expect to see every year. So the first gray column shows that we are expecting that we will have a surplus of our ongoing revenues compared to our expenditures of $1 million. So that's positive. We want to make sure that those one-time, those one-time revenues are not paying for our ongoing expenses. So this is what is highlighted here. And then moving on to our one-time revenues and our one-time expenditures, there it's not as important for the revenues to cover the expenditures because we can draw from fund balance for those one-time needs. So those are our larger scale capital projects and things we don't expect to routinely occur. With all of that totaled, we are looking at a draw fund balance of 3.7 million. That is less, about 800,000 less than the drawn fund balance for the current fiscal year. So we are improving there, but there are some large-scale capital projects that are incorporated, which is the primary source of that. Again, just recapping, just taking that picture of the ongoing revenues versus expenses so you can see that. Just summarizes to show that our general fund is in the black, which is what we want to see, as well as the majority of our other funds. You might notice that the debt fund shows a negative amount, but that's because we transfer funds from the General Capital Improvement Fund to pay that debt service. So that's the only reason why transfers are excluded on this. And so it does cover it because we do have 1.9 million in the General Capital Improvement Fund. And then the other one that is a deficit is the cemetery fund. We're just getting started with that still, so we still haven't worked out everything as far as how much everything's going to cost and how many interments we're going to have each year. So that, as well as the expenses for the maintenance of it. So that's something that we're watching, but it's so minimal that it's not a high concern right now. Where we do have concern and where we're watching is the wastewater fund. Our ongoing does include the additional WRF facility improvements, so the water reclamation facility improvements, where we are expecting to take out a $10 million loan, which will be coming back before you all at the next meeting for the final loan documents. And that debt service is what's putting that ongoing in the red there. So there may be some a brief point of time where the general fund will have to continue to supplement the wastewater fund as it has done in the past. However, we are going to have 2 debt services fall off in the next 2 years, which will help offset that new debt service that we are getting. With that, the next steps are posting our, in the paper, the notice of our public hearing and budget schedules. And then we will actually have the public hearing as well as the final budget adoption at the June 23rd meeting. Tonight's action is setting that maximum cap. It can be reduced after this meeting, but it cannot be increased. And then the final action, as we discussed earlier, is setting the tax rates for the improvement districts in July. And that's following the adoption of the final budgets. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Questions, Robert?
Just wanted to confirm, so we're, and just so the public knows, we're being responsible, fiduciary responsible, and we're cutting roads by 1 million, correct, for the new fiscal year?
Correct.
From 3 million to 2 million, not because we want to, because the budget
Correct.
requires us to, in being responsible, just so the public knows, we're reducing funds on road repairs And that's just another reason why we need to concentrating on increasing our town revenue so we can increase things like that, so we must take advantage of every economic opportunity we can going forward that benefits the town financially, that makes sense.
Yes, you are correct, and we did reduce that because in the prior year, we allocated more of our general capital improvement fund balance to transfer over to increase the amount we were putting forward towards street improvements. So it did have the reduction this year, and we would like to see that go up in future years if sustainable.
Sherry?
No.
John?
Just to echo, I'm supportive of this, obviously the tentative. But Town Manager, we really do need to continue our economic development, strategic planning. We had a little, I'll celebrate the little victory, but we need to have a win. And we need to get more granular because we do need to increase the revenue streams, consistent revenue streams. Because without it, that 2 million might become $1 million later. And the other reason is this year we're covering the COLA by holding soft or hard freezes on 3 positions. So the council members are going to be here next year. Just remember, we need to increase our revenue by at least $300,000 just to cover this year. Otherwise, we're holding those positions over again and again and again. So we need to continue with that strategic planning on. We just had a broad discussion.
Yes. Yes, Councilmember McCafferty, absolutely, and staff has been actively engaged since the last meeting and putting several different pieces together to bring back to you because we understand this council is fully engaged in knowing that we have 2 or 3 more years where we could be upside down if we don't increase our revenues, where our expenses will exceed our revenues, and we don't want to be in that position, and we know you're forward thinking. We've had development services, economic development, us, and we are going to be bringing water and our new public works director. Steve's been involved in that in the meantime as the acting public works director. We want Ryan to be here before we put those final pieces together and bring back to you for discussion. So we look forward to that coming in the next probably month or 2.
Good job, young lady.
Oh, thank you.
John?
Just wanted to put out there for the short time I've been on the council, reading the preliminary budget packet, just kudos to everyone that was involved with it. It's so well written. I understood most of it. Really, really good job, everybody. I think my biggest point of concern is reading over it over and over again is I have some pretty serious concerns of some of the things happening with the police department. And I know we talked about positions and things we're going to look at later in the year. But I did have a couple questions. I'm curious, because it does impact the budget, do we know where we sit, our police department, where they sit in order of base salary within the county?
We try and keep up with the other entities, but we're typically the lowest.
The lowest.
And that's why this year we are doing the market adjustment of the 3%.
Right.
We would have liked to have seen more. Additionally, in the preliminary packet, we did have the police position freeze in there, but that was added back in per council's discussion. So that one is fully funded in the budget. We're just doing a soft freeze. So right now they're experiencing some vacancies. So most likely the vacancies at the beginning of the year will allow them to fill that position earlier in this next fiscal year. So we don't expect that to be held for long.
One of my other questions, I'm not sure who can answer. I know the police chief's here, maybe he can. Do we have what I would refer to as minimum staffing issues? Do we have a minimum number of police officers on any particular shift that is mandated to have a particular number?
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Yes, we have minimum staffing for our squads at 3, so 3 minimum. We typically see 4 to 5 officers per shift, but with vacations or training and stuff like that, we can go down to a minimum of 3 per shift, but we try not to get that low.
And I know I'm putting you on the spot,
Yeah.
but does that require people to fill in for that? And does that require a significant amount of overtime?
We've done pretty good correct me if I'm wrong, on overtime this year with just being able to move people around without expending overtime hours or budget money. And our guys and gals have done a great job being flexible. We typically, it's not very hard to get 3 people on a shift. But you know, that off time when we have a whole squad that gets sick at the same time, that's when we kind of use that overtime budget.
Absolutely. All right, thank you very much.
Mayor, any questions?
No.
Sorry, Lee. Nothing. Okay. John covered mine. Okay, excellent.
Oh, one real quick.
You do have something.
So the PD is a soft freeze?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I understand.
Just
The 3 positions are soft freeze.
Uh,
3.
all 3 or just the PD?
Two are hard, so the development services position as well as the street maintenance position are hard freezes,
that's
so they're not budgeted in. The PD position, the police officer position is a soft freeze, so it's fully budgeted. And we don't expect that freeze to be held over very long.
So, just out of curiosity, if we end up with a little more income this year, which that's highly doubtful, but if it happened, and we needed to replace either the roads or the person in planning and zoning or in development services, it's going to have to come back before the full council?
Yes, because the budget would either come from contingency or from other departments where there were vacancies and staffing savings during the year. So that would give the budget capacity for it.
I think everybody knows where I stand on that, but I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-1309, approving a tentative budget for the fiscal year 2026-2027 and proposed expenditure limitation for the same year in the amount of $48,345,342 and setting a public hearing date of June 23rd, 2026 on the tentative budget and adoption of the final budget.
I got a second?
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Stankowitz.
Yes.
Councilmember Switzer.
Yes.
Councilmember Holt.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Granillo.
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, and action item 6F, consideration and possible action to approve Resolution 2026-1307, authorizing the submission of grant application to and acceptance of grant funds from the AZ Smart Fund for a grant to match pursuant Title 28, Chapter 2, Article 2, Arizona Revised Statutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council. Before you today, we have Resolution 2026-1307 that acknowledges our application to the Arizona Smart Grant Program. So this is a state-run program that supplements match funds required by a federal grant program, and it has to be applied to in conjunction with a federal program. So as of last week, I submitted an application to the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant opportunity. So that's a federal grant program provided by the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's an 80-20 split, and our project estimate is $350,000. Of that, our federal request is $280,000, and our goal, the goal of the federal program is to reduce serious injuries and deaths on the roadways. Through this planning effort, we hope to obtain a townwide speed study, an intersection analysis, and a signage inventory. It was due today, and it was submitted last week. So, now that that's complete, I can submit an application to the Arizona Smart Match Program. So this allows funding to different buckets based off of population. So there's the ADOT bucket, the municipalities under 10,000, municipalities over 10,000, counties under 100,000, and counties over 100,000. So we would be applying to the municipalities over 10,000. As of last week, there was about $800,000 available. So with that, I recommend that you approve Resolution 2026-1307 and allow me to submit an application.
Questions for the staff?
Is the matching 70,000 in the budget?
So if we were not awarded through the SMART program, is that your question?
Wouldn't we have matching fund? We would have to supply 70,000 of the 350?
We would.
And is that money allotted for in the budget if this is goes forward, or is it for next fiscal?
Everybody's reaching for their wallets. Where would the money come from?
Yeah.
So, yeah, what's happening with this is we're actually applying for that match portion. So if we get the match portion, we wouldn't have anything out of town funds. It would be all through grant. It's just two different sources.
Oh, so we're asking for the match also?
Yes, so she already applied for the main portion of the grant, and this is the application for the match portion. So
Sweet.
potentially, if we didn't get awarded for this, then we would have to look at that 70,000, but we would look at other potential places we could pull that in the budget.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm ready for a motion.
Sherry?
Nope.
John?
No.
John? Larry?
Great job.
Mayor?
Yes.
One more time?
Yes.
He said get
He
the
said to
money.
share with you that he understands that there is an echo, so he's trying to limit his input as much as possible. We'll try to figure that out before the next
I
meeting.
think he said get the money.
Get the Jesse, thank you. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-1307, authorizing the submission of a grant application to and acceptance of grant funds from the Arizona Smart Fund for a grant for a match pursuant to Title 28, Chapter 2, Article 2 of the ARS.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Everybody's gonna second that one.
Councilmember Stankiewicz,
Yes.
Councilmember Switzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Holt,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ganil.
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
Passes 7-0.
Thank you. Sherry?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Oh, do we need a roll call vote for that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.